Good afternoon, Connie. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Danielle?
Very good. Thank you so much for asking. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you thus far and to talk about your experience a little bit and tell you a little bit about some of the offerings that we have here um, for positions. I would love to hear in your own words a brief synopsis of your last few positions. So you have the floor.
Okay, well, um, right. So I've been an executive assistant for several years, and just for a variety of clients. And it's just, I am that person. I'm the organizer. I'm the planner. I'm the one that's all about the details. I try to always have the answers to your questions before you even have your questions. I'm also the person I like to say that I organize chaos. I put the whole day together. I track it and I thrive in that fast-paced environment, right? Because I find it exciting. But I also realize that you need to be really flexible and priorities change all the time. And even when you think you know what's going to happen that day, it's probably going to be different. So you need to be able to pick things up and put them down as priorities shift, right? And just don't miss a beat and keep on going. And so it appeals to me. It just is, like I say, I find it exciting. I do it really well. I think that's also why I like it. I also, I'm always the person who has a plan A, but I always have a plan B too. And the optimist in me will tell me plan A will always work, but the realist in me will tell me you're going to need probably a plan B or maybe C. So that is, and like I say,
Yeah,
I've worked for a lot of executive or a lot of senior leadership, and it's basically the same anywhere you go. The things that are different are the personalities that you work with. But I mean, time management and calendar scheduling and meetings, briefings, and agendas and they're the same regardless of where you're at. I find
sure.
anyways. It's just
And and I see that you have, it looks like you have some legal
Mhm,
experience. You worked in a law firm. You have insurance experience.
mhm.
Let's see here. Now, as far as your next position, what ideally are you looking for? Know that you moved from New York, then you were in Tennessee for a little while, and now you're here with us in Florida. So,
Right.
tell me what the next chapter looks like for you, job wise.
So for me, it's doing what I love, which is the executive assistant type of work. But some of my favorite jobs that I've had in the past have been the ones where, yes, I am the executive assistant and I do keep the calendars and I do schedule the meetings and I do the PowerPoints. But I like the ones where like you kind of get to wear a lot of different hats. Like the last position I was in, I was the executive assistant, but then I was also part of this project. We moved to a new building. And so I became part of this project with a team that became the new building managers, if you will. We became the go-to people when somebody needed a key or they had a question about the facility. So there was a team of three, and we kind of ran the whole facility thing. I also became, because my boss said he wanted the employees to be really excited about this move and this new building, right? So I kind of became the employee engagement specialist. He said, come up with some fun things. Like I said, okay, like pizza on Friday and Hawaiian shirts on Monday. And so to make it be fun to come to work, right? So that people would
Okay.
be excited about it. Then we even got into like a popcorn Friday where I would make
Mhm.
popcorn every Friday at 2 o'clock. But it was to help develop the culture of the company and get people
Okay.
excited about being there. So that was fun too. That was just another,
Mhm.
again, like you get to wear a lot of different hats.
Sure. So some of the positions that we talked about are not necessarily in that executive level positions at this point in time. Of course, they do have room for growth. But what are your thoughts at this point in your career into going into more of like an entry to intermediate level type position?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be a possibility. I've worked at the very high level for a very long time, and I probably wouldn't mind stepping down a step or two
Okay.
as we go forward.
Yeah, we find that a lot, with someone that's had a career very demanding, high
Mhm.
level, high stress, and they come to Florida sometimes, and you're not
Right.
necessarily ready to not work, but you don't
Exactly.
necessarily want something that's 24/7. You're
Right.
getting the text messages and the emails, and being like on call and such. So would you say that that's a fair assessment of where you are at this point in your job seeking?
Yes, and I will also, and thanks for bringing that up because I will also say I've had those jobs where
Hmm.
I will get a text at 8 o'clock at night and I'm expected to respond because that's, but that's part of the
Hmm.
job, right? Or I might get an email or a phone call on the weekend. And again, same, so
Hmm.
I'm done with that.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough, and there's nothing wrong with that. We
Pretty
have
done in
all
that.
types of
Yeah.
positions. We have different levels. Like I know for a long time, even just personally, like I had a job where I did that. Now, in my recruiting position, it's nice on the weekends that I can kind of disconnect. So
Yeah.
I completely understand. I do like to mention that though in interviews, because we certainly want to share with our clients and with our hiring managers of what works well for the employee or the employee,
Right.
to make a good match. We certainly want to fit culture wise, and job responsibility and duties and such
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
what your needs are, and to complement, of course, what their needs are, to make that good healthy match for
Mhm.
longevity, because that's
Right.
ideally when someone invests time and effort into an employee, and an employee invests their time and effort into learning, that it's a
Mhm.
good match and it's going to be fruitful for a good period of time in the future. All
I
right,
think it's
wonderful.
important to talk about the expectations, right? So you do have that
Yeah,
alignment between the two.
exactly.
Definitely.
All right, Connie, I'm going to place you on a brief hold and stop the recording, but don't hang up. We got a few more things to chat about.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks.